Okay, so for my presentation today, I'm going to focus on ethical communications within technology. I'm going to take this in really three parts. The first is going to be focused around copyright and fair use. The second will focus on produced public domain. And the third will be education-friendly resources through the vehicle of Creative Commons. Focusing on this piece of it, starting with copyright. Really, copyright, if you break it down, is really a form of legal protection that's automatically provided to the authors of the original works of authorship, including literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic works. Really, when you think about it in the U.S. copyright laws, they allow the original creators the right to reproduce or distribute their own original work to the public. They can also create new works based upon the original work. That copyright lasts for the life of the author, and this is interesting, plus 70 years beyond the death of that author as well. So you've got some initial protection, and you also got 70 years beyond that as well. What is protected and was really not protected by copyright law? Really, you're looking at things such as, protected are literary works, music and lyrics, dramatic works, video games, audio recordings. What's not protected, though, are things that are intangible. So if you made up I like this example, if you made up a song that you sang in the shower, not protected. Anything you're going through from ideas or facts, titles, short phrases, federal government works, processes, systems, those pieces are not protected by copyright law. So let's talk about public domain then. According to commonsense.org, which is kind of a fantastic website to go to reference these, fair share is creative work that is not copyrighted, okay, and free to use without anyone's permission, meaning you don't have to go and receive permission to use it in any way, shape, or form. Fair use is when you have the ability to use copyrighted work without direct permission from the creator. However, only in specific situations and only in certain ways can you do that. The four factors of fair use, which I think are pretty critical. Number one is purpose. Purpose is, more likely to be fair use if the purpose of your new work is to be used for educational purposes. So if you're trying to do some things to educate others, or you're changing the new work into something totally different, that's typically fine. The content you're seeking to use is only going to be a small amount of the creator's original content, and not what they consider kind of the heart or the genesis or nexus of it, then be considered fair use. Nature, when looking at original art, you'll find that's nonfiction or based on fact, then it'll be considered fair use. Effect, if your new work does not negatively impact the original work or the value of the original work, then it would also be considered fair use. So these four factors are pretty critical. Common example are things such as schoolworks and education. News reporting is a great example, I think, for people to understand of how fair use works. Comedy is another really good one. And criticizing or commenting, all elements of fair use examples that I think are pretty tangible and help people understand. I think this is a really good template to go through and look at. It basically kind of use it. So it's a checklist for copyright clearance, right? Did you create it? Yes. Okay. Are you sure? Yes. Then you can use it, right? If it's a no, then you got to figure out, was that type of material that's not covered by copyright? If it's yes, you're right back to where you started, the happy path. If it's no, you're back to public domain. What's nice is you can kind of walk these pieces back and through, and to me, it makes it that much easier to start to understand and say, all right, where am I at? How do I make sure I don't make any mistakes as it relates to using these tools, and make sure that everyone gets the fair, credit that they deserve, that they've created these unique pieces going forward. For Creative Commons, I thought I put in a really nice video. I think this video is pretty fantastic.
Have you ever wondered how to download?
I will hit that. I'm sorry. Put the caption on for you. I've embedded this video link too, so you can use this and share this. I think it's fantastic though. What this does is show you how to go through and then kind of interpret some of these elements. I think it's a video that not only helps I think break down some of these elements for folks who maybe are not sure how to use these things, but it also helps you get better understanding of, okay, this is how it could work. This is what it would look like. So this video is fantastic. I will again, I put a link in here so you can go through and see what this looks like. But it will walk you through step for step what Creative Commons looks like, what you can actively use or not use otherwise. So it's a really good starting spot. Creative Commons really is free copyright licenses for creators to determine how that work might be used. There's Creative Commons attribution, is the most open license recommended for open educational resource. So this type of license means that anybody can tweak, distribute, or do really whatever you want, provided that they give credit to who created that piece of it. And then how do you find that content? You can find CC content by using a search tool. The CC license filters, I know there's some great Google apps too that will help you do this, including some embedded piece that you can put into your web browsers too, to help you figure out which Creative Commons things I can use to build off of. If you're looking at obtaining ethical resources or free images, free images, there's no shortage of those actually if you want to look, and I put some examples of those here. An online site that is already filtered for free images, so everything that you look on there you can find and use without having to be concerned about having to give credit or infringing upon some copyright laws. From a sound effects standpoint too, there's really good ones. The best one here I think is Freesound. If you've not checked out Freesound, you should. It's super cool. It just lets you find royalty-free sound effects. So if you don't want to pay royalties and you don't want to have to give, an additional, money to coincide, these websites are fantastic ways to find those pieces. Clip art is another big question you get asked a lot about, is how do I find clip art that coincides with some of the things we're working on. CreativeCommons.org obviously is a great place to start. Classroom clip art is one I've used in the past too. I think that's a really good one. Again, another searchable, has great searchable features that you can use without having to infringe upon any type of copyright laws going forward too. I put a couple different videos in here for folks too. What this is nice is these sites help you search for videos that are free to share. Some of the videos range, from 30 seconds all the way up to much longer. But all these can be used to find videos that you can use that are ethical and that you don't feel like you have to infringe upon copyrights. And you can use either to share or if you want to build off of or modify going forward. Put a bunch of references here for you so you can see all these as well, but I also embed the links in here too. So hopefully this gives you a much better understanding of what's critical here as you're looking through some copyright components and some Creative Commons pieces. And thanks for listening.